What's going on, everybody? Dottz Gaming here. I know we have my webcam up today. I'm actually recording this while I stream, but we're going to be talking about my Magicka PvP build for the patch and what I'm probably going to be using moving forward, and it is called the Unchained build. It's really similar to my burn builds from a couple patches ago. It has a lot of the core principles from that build, but it's changed up a little bit. And I really like the way this build's been playing. I've been having a great time with it. It deals a lot of damage. It survives very well. And it's one of those builds that's going to pretty much be timeless. And I think that's really what I'm trying to look for in a build right now. Is I'm trying to look for a build that's going to be able to last through the patches and that's going to be viable pretty much no matter what. Unfortunately, with Summerset, the Dragon Spirit build was killed with the changes to dual wield weapons and for Magicka units. With how much damage has been seen in the initial Summerset patch, with how high things have been, and even looking forward, how much unresistible damage is going to be coming in future patches, with Bleed builds going to be super prominent, with Wolf Hunter. Unfortunately, I have not found light armor to be nearly as viable, at least for me in the way I play, compared to heavy armor. I've tested so many different light armor builds, and I haven't really been able to make any of them work. And I played a light armor build for all of Dragon Bones, so it's not like I'm new to light armor or a stranger to light armor. But I personally feel that right now, heavy armor is the way to go, and I think moving forward is probably going to be what I stay in. I did gold out this entire setup. First time I've ever golded out a full setup. So this is probably what I'm going to be sticking with for the foreseeable future, and we'll just, tune a little bit patch to patch depending on how things go. But enough about the intro. Moving right into the build, we, of course, are running 2 pieces of Blood Spawn. You have stamina recovery, and then you have a 6% chance to generate 14 ultimate and increase your physical and spell resistance by 6450 for 6 seconds, and this can occur every 6 seconds. It goes without saying, this is such a staple Magicka set. You get stamina recovery to help with your stamina pool while blocking, dodge rolling, CC break, etc. But you also have a chance to generate that ultimate, which helps give you not only damage, but sustain as a Magicka. And then you also get the tank ability through the physical and spell resistance that you gain. I did try Valk and Scoria in this slot, and while Scoria, of course, is great in 1v1s, or if you're in a group situation, I did find that the second I began to become more outnumbered, that I was missing that tank ability from Blood Spawn, and I was missing the extra sustain from the extra ultimates. I just really feel that after trying both, I do feel that Blood Spawn is the way to go. If you're dueling, you can stick Valk and Scoria on there, but I just play with Blood Spawn all the time, so that is what I'm running. I am also running 5 pieces of Shackle Breaker. Shackle Breaker is going to be the core of the build. That's why I called the build Unchained, remove shackles, lol. But this is the core to the build. This set is so good, and if you combine Shackle Breaker with Blood Spawn, there's so many different combinations you can make. You can wear Spinners, which is what I'm wearing. You could wear Sun, Julianos, Burning Spellweave, this Innate Axiom now. There's so many different sets you can pair with Shackle Breaker because Shackle Breaker offers such a good stat pool. You get weapon damage, which does kind of go to waste, spell damage, Magicka, and stamina recovery, both of which we can get use out of, and then you get a huge boost to your Magicka and stamina pool. It's just such a good set. It just offers so much, and it offers a really wide stat pool. And I know that my reasoning for using this set in the past was, well, it enables me to use Witchmother's Potent Brew, which will make sustain easier. But as I've improved at my Magicka and as I've gotten a lot better at him, I find that I don't even need Witchmothers anymore, and I'm able to run Tri-Stat Food now, and I'm able to sustain perfectly fine with Tri-Stat Food. And now with Shackle Breaker and Tri-Stat, my resource pools are ridiculously high. They're ridiculous. When we go over the stat sheet later, you guys will see what it looks like now when you combine those two as opposed to using Witchmothers. If you're a newer player, then obviously you can use Witchmothers, but then once you get more experience, I highly recommend trying out Tri-Stat Food, and I have to give a shout out to Quantum for recommending that I do give that a try, because I didn't think I could sustain without it, but I have been sustaining just fine. I used to think that you needed between I think I said my number last time was 2,300 to 2,500 effective Magicka recovery in heavy armor, and it's not even close to what I think anymore. Nowadays, I'm playing anywhere between 1,900 and 2,000 effective recovery after accounting for elemental drain, which I do run. So, again, part of the reason why I like Shackle Breaker. But we did pair that with Spinners. So Spinners gives us 2 lines of max Magicka, a line of spell damage, and then gives us an insane amount of spell penetration, 3,370 spell penetration. So this allows us to have the same type of pen as you do in light armor. But it also gives 2 lines of max Magicka and a line of spell damage is like perfectly what you need to really round out the stat pool of this build. And you're going to see on the front bar, we have a very, very large max Magicka pool sitting at 41.5k max Magicka. So you compare that, also having 2150 spell damage and having the penetration levels basically of a light armor build between Spinners, RCP, and also having elemental drain. We deal a ton of damage, and Spinners really helps enable that damage. And we are running heavy armor. This is going to be a sword and board ice staff build. The reason we are running ice staff and not, let's say, an inferno staff or a lightning staff is because of the fact that the ice staff allows you to block on your back bar effectively. If you use an inferno staff or a lightning staff, you may see tiny increases to your damage, but you will not be able to block effectively on your back bar. And the reason for that is because of the passives. So if you look at Ancient Knowledge, Frost Staff reduces the cost of blocking by 36% and increases the amount of damage you block by 20%, so you can actually block on your back bar with your Ice Staff. As long as you don't put points in Tri-Focus, your block will still cost stamina. So it's essentially like having a sword and board on your back bar, but you gain access to Elemental Drain, which is awesome. In terms of like traits and enchants and everything, I run 3 prismatics. So we run a prismatic on the head, chest, and legs. And then we run Magicka enchant on the littler pieces and the shield. And in terms of traits, we are running, I believe, 3 pieces of impenetrable and 4 pieces of sturdy on the body, with the shield also being sturdy. I like my shield being sturdy because when I swap onto my back bar, I like to maintain, I don't want to lose out impen when I swap onto my back bar. So I prefer to have my shield be sturdy. And then in terms of our jewelry, I am still running triple arcane. I don't think any of the other traits are worth running over arcane, especially because I am trying to go for a pretty large Magicka pool. So arcane just helps me offensively, defensively. I don't really see a need for any of the other traits. So I'm still running arcane. And then in terms of enchants on the jewelry, I am running 2 spell damage and 1 Magicka recovery. I do find that Magicka recovery glyph is necessary, so I would recommend running it. In terms of our one-handed weapon, we are running a Nirnhoned one-handed weapon with a weapon and spell damage enchant on the front bar. And then our back bar, like I said, we are running a defending ice staff. If you want to not use poisons, I'd recommend an absorb Magicka enchant on the back bar. But if you want to use poisons, go ahead and use poisons. That is what I'm using, poisons on the back bar. So you can feel free to do whatever you'd like. So I did talk about food, so I'm actually going to go into food and stuff right now. Like I said, I am running tri-stat food. I already explained why. I'm also running tri-stat pots. Again, I like tri-stat pots in the Magicka because it pairs really well with Battle Roar. If you use, an ultimate, get the Battle Roar, and then even pair that with tri-pots, you can get a massive flood of resources to all 3 of your pools. So I'm always a huge fan of tri-stat pots for my heavy armor builds. We're also still are a vampire for Mist form in the current patch. I will go over that later. We are using the Atronach Mundus Stone for our Magicka recovery. Without it, your Magicka recovery will be too low, so you do need to run the Atronach. And then in terms of our stat pools, we are sitting at 41.5k max Magicka on our front bar. It's pretty damn high for a heavy armor build. We're sitting at almost 24k max health and 19k stam. So you can see what type of power we're able to gain through using tri-stat food. And we're sitting at 1365 Magicka recovery. Don't feel I need any more. This is enough for me to play with right now. With Elemental Drain, which gives us an effective 600 Magicka recovery, brings us to 1965. And for me, that is plenty. We have 2150 about spell damage on our front bar, and we have 32% crit due to having Major Prophecy on our front bar because we are front barring Inner Light. And then we have 22.3k spell resist, 18.6k physical resist, and then we are sitting above 2k crit resist. I will never go below 2k crit resist. That is my floor. So as long as I sit above that, I'm perfectly fine. Moving into skills, we of course are running Flame Lash. Flame Lash is the bread and butter ability of any Magicka Dragon Knight build, and you should be running it. We have a 9.4k Flame Lash tooltip, which is pretty respectable if you ask me, especially for a heavy armor build. Once you have a target off balance, this turns to Power Lash. So you will basically do a more intense Power Lash, stun them for 2 seconds, and then heal yourself, and this can occur once every 3 seconds. Bread and butter skill, you run it on every build. We are also running Fossilize, so that is the stun that I've chosen to use. It is super, super good. Can't miss it. You will stun your target, can't be blocked or dodged, and after they're stunned, they take some damage, and then they get immobilized for 3 seconds, so it causes double stamina burn. So it's just such a good skill, and I highly recommend using it. We are running Choking Talons. We need a source of minor maim, so Choking Talons is there for just that, and it also gives us another chance to proc our Power Lash. So that is the main reason we are running Talons. I've tried running without Talons. Every time I try without it, I don't like it. So I'm still running it, of course, and then we are using the minor maim version. We are running Coagulating Blood on our front bar due to the fact that that is where our spell damage and Magicka pools are the highest. As you can see, we have 41.5k max mag on our front bar, and we are sitting at 2150 spell damage about. So due to that, you know, on our back bar, right, we drop down to 39k max mag, 1938 spell damage. Obviously, we want our big heal on our front bar where the tooltip's the biggest. So we have, it's about an 8257 tooltip, and they'll only get bigger the lower health we get. Then our ultimate is Dragon Leap, almost at an 18k tooltip, so pretty good tooltip. And you leap, stun, damage, knockback, you get a damage shield, 125 ultimate. It's super, super good. Should be on all your builds. And then we are running Inner Light. Inner Light gives us 7% max Magicka between Inner Light and the Mage's Guild passives, and also gives us Major Prophecy. We can also see enemies in stealth, which is super, super helpful. So if you don't have detect pots on you, you can use this skill. And I've tried Flames of Oblivion in the slot. I've tried Flames of Oblivion so many times on so many builds, and I don't like it. I'm not a huge fan. I know some people really love Flames of Oblivion. I'm not a huge fan of the skill. I find Inner Light to be much better, especially for a build like this, because we are running a pretty high max Magicka pool. Having 7% of a big max Magicka pool is going to give us even more return, which is going to give us even more damage. So this just is a passive increase to all of the skills on our front bar, as opposed to a dot that we have to maintain that might not go onto our target, that could be shielded or blocked or whatever. But I personally have tried both. I think Inner Light is significantly better, and I would recommend trying it. If you really like Flames of Oblivion, go ahead and toss it on. But I think for solo PvP, Inner Light's much better, in my opinion. But that is just me. On our back bar, we have Degeneration is our form of major sorcery. Don't really need to say much more than that. We are running Burning Embers on our back bar. I will never run without Burning Embers. It's too good. It's too instrumental to our healing output. It deals instant damage and then deals a dot and then heals you for 93% of the total damage inflicted when the effect ends. I've seen some people play without it. I don't know how they do it. I've tried playing without Burning Embers before, and I absolutely hate it. I think it's too good of a skill to not run. And while I've always run Burning Embers on my front bar, I really desperately wanted to squeeze Inner Light on my front bar. I really wanted to, because I think that kind of like min-maxes the skill positions in the build and really will give us the most potential damage and healing on our front bar. So Burning Embers was the logical slot to move back bar. I still am trying to get a little bit used to having Burning Embers in my back bar. It has been a little bit of adjustment, but I am getting the hang of it. But I really recommend having it on your back bar. I think it is much better than having it on your front bar, because you can squeeze, like not having it on your front bar allows you to run Inner Light. So Major Prophecy, 7% more max mag. It's just, it's a good bonus. We of course have Elemental Drain. The sole reason we run the Destruction Staff gives us our Major Breach, more penetration. So between Elemental Drain, our CP, and Spinners, we have a lot of penetration, and so any heavy armor target, we will still be dealing significant damage to them. And then the main thing I love about it is the minor Magicka steal, 600 effective Magicka recovery. It's so good. It's so good. This ability alone will allow us to sustain ourselves with a low base recovery, which allows us to budget for more damage. Really, really good skill. We also have Volatile Armor. This is our source of major resolve and major ward. Also deals a little dot over time. Not really the biggest thing, but it's better than Hardened Armor, so it's just what we run. And then it returns damage to attackers when people attack us. Gonna skip over Elusive Mist. And then I do run Shooting Star. Shooting Star does 16k damage instantly, knocks people back, and then after impact, it deals a 5k dot every second for 11 seconds, and then you generate 12 ultimate for every enemy hit in the blast. If you combo Shooting Star with Fossilize and Talons, you can completely wreck someone's day. If you see somebody that does not have CC immunity and you have an opening on them, you hit Shooting Star, switch to your front bar, press Fossilize, they will get stunned, and they will get completely smacked with the full brunt of the Shooting Star. They'll also be rooted afterwards in the Fossilize, and then just to make sure you can even hit them with the Choking Talons, and they'll be sitting in that dot, and they will be getting absolutely destroyed. So I like this for comboing really tough to kill targets, and that's what I use Shooting Star when my Ferocious Leap isn't getting the job done. I use Shooting Star. Plus, it's 200 ultimate, gives us a really big battle roar, helps us to kill those hard-to-kill targets. I am running Elusive Mist. I know that at the beginning of the patch, you have all probably heard me say that I would not run Vampire this patch. I didn't think Vampire would be that good this patch. I didn't think it'd be worth it, but I was wrong. I tried playing without Elusive Mist, and I hated it. We still need it right now. The change to Wings was not enough. Not having a snare immunity once we use Wings basically made the change to the skill kind of useless. So we still have to crutch on Elusive Mist. Thankfully, I am a Dunmer, so I do, not get hit by the burning status effect, so it does help reduce some of that flame damage that I do take. But we still need Elusive Mist, unfortunately. We're still relying on it. At least I think we are. I tried playing without it. I hate it. Can't stand it. Next patch, they are projecting to add a 2-second immunity to Wings. So it will be something to test. But unfortunately, you have to think about it. If I drop Vampirism, I'm going to lose 10% recoveries, which means I'm going to have to budget for some more recovery in my build, which means I'm going to be dealing less damage, but I will be taking less damage, but then I'll also have Wings available. So it's a little bit of, it's not just like as clear cut as like, well, now that we're getting an immunity on Wings, we can get rid of Vampirism. It's going to take, I think, a little bit of testing for me to decide whether or not Vampirism will still be worth it in Wolf Hunter, and whether I'm still going to be using Elusive Mist or Wings. I will be testing both, but as of right now, Summerset patch, you still need Elusive Mist, in my opinion. So we've covered skills, I covered consumables and gear, and then we're going to just cover CP. So I'm pretty sure my CP is optimized. I've run it by a bunch of people, and not a single person can really tell me any massive changes. So this is what I'm running CP-wise. Obviously, you're free to change it if you don't like it, but this is currently what I'm using. 19 points into Blessed. Damage is really high right now. This is the first time I've ever put points into Blessed on my Magicka, but we need it. We need the extra healing. 31 points into Elfborn. Because we do have decent crit, we can go up to 31. On my old heavy armor builds, I used to run 23, but because I have Major Prophecy on my front bar, we're pumping this up to 31. 64 points into Elemental Expert. 52 into Spell Erosion, 66 into Mastered Arms, and then 18 into Thaumaturge to help a little bit with our consistent pressure. If you feel that you don't need as much penetration, feel free to take points out of Spell Erosion and put them into Thaumaturge. Go right ahead. But a lot of people right now are going super tanky because damage is super, super high. So having the high points in a Spell Erosion will allow you to counter those people. So that's why I'm running it that way. 56 points into Ironclad because I'll never run any less. 53 into Resistance because I need to get above that 2k crit resist threshold. 48 into Thick Skin, 37 into Hardy and Elemental Defender, and then 19 into Quick Recovery to help augment our Blessed. We also have 56 points into Warlord, 3 into Bashing Focus because I had 3 points left over. We also have 75 points into Arcanist to help with our recovery, 72 into Shadow Ward to help with our block, and then 44 into Tumbling because you still do need to dodge roll, so having some points into Tumbling will really help. So that pretty much covers all the base stuff. People always ask, though, you know, Dottz, what should I do for a rotation? What's the rotation in this build? The big thing with Magicka is buff and debuff management. We don't have an execute, so if you overcommit for a kill and the person that you're fighting turns around, you're going to get banged. You have to properly manage your buffs and debuffs. So, Volatile Armor, Degeneration, Burning Embers, Elemental Drain. You need to manage all 4 of those buffs that you see on our back bar. Keep those up at all times. That is what's going to optimize your damage. As you can tell, your front bar is like your combat situational skills, while your back bar is basically your buffs, and we have Elusive Mist. That's basically the way to play this. All right? Obviously, I already went over the Shooting Star combo. If you're going to hit someone with Shooting Star, don't stun them and then hit Shooting Star. Shooting Star does have a delay on it. You're much better off pressing Shooting Star, then stunning them. The stun will land before the Meteor, so the Meteor, they'll take the full damage of it. If you let them CC break, they might be able to block it, so you'll be wasting 200 ultimate for nothing. Obviously, if you have somebody rooted, stand behind them. They will not be able to hit you. Trying to think of any other basic tips. For those of you who do not know or may just be coming back to the game, do not press Inner Light anymore unless you need to get somebody out of stealth. Empower only affects your light attacks. It does not affect your skills anymore, so don't waste the Magicka on it. But otherwise, it's gonna just be practice. Like I said, if you're able to, the big thing that you need to focus on and pay attention to is being able to fight your opponents and have the situational awareness to play against them while maintaining your buffs and debuffs. That's the big thing with Magicka. Maintain that stuff on the back bar, and then you're gonna be up here, stunning them, hitting your flame lashes, keeping up that minor main when you need to, getting Dragon Leap and hitting the Dragon Leap when you see a key opportunity to leap after a stun, for instance, and using your own awareness to know when to go in for a kill. But I'm pretty sure I covered everything. Oh yeah, like I said, race is Dark Elf. I don't think there's any other race that's as good. I know some people like High Elf or Argonian, but right now, because we need Vampirism, I think we need Dark Elf. Also, Dark Elf gives the most damage. But maybe later, if we don't have such a reliance on Vampirism, you can feel free to try High Elf or Argonian, but I still personally think Dark Elf is the best. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. I want to thank you all for stopping by the YouTube channel. If you like this video, if you like the build, please smack it with a like. If you have any questions about the build, why I'm running what I'm running, any substitutions, by all means, please leave a comment below. I answer all my comments. Like I did say earlier, you can pretty much run Bloodspawn, Shackle Breaker, insert 5-piece set here. I like spinners. I chose to run spinners, but you can run Julianos. You can run Burning Spellweave. You can run Sun, although I don't really recommend Sun as much as the other options. Innate Axiom would also be a good one, but with Shackle and Bloodspawn, you have a lot of flexibility, so do keep that in mind. But if you guys enjoyed this video, I would also appreciate if you hit that sub button as well as hit the bell to keep notifications on so you always know what I'm doing here on the YouTube channel. So thank you guys so much for watching. Really, really appreciate it. I'm Dottz Gaming, and I'll see you all in the next one.